What up, everybody? Since the beginning of Power to where we are now on the timeline, headed into Force Season 3, there's been a lot of changes in Tommy's life. The biggest two being that he's no longer in New York and now living in Chicago. And his lifelong best friend, his brother, Ghost, who Tommy had been hustling with since he was a kid, is no longer in the picture. But throughout this time, Tommy has also found out that he's been lied to his whole life by Kate about some pretty serious things. Kate had told Tommy that his father was dead, and he grew up his whole life not thinking anything about having a father in his life, believing he was dead. Honestly, the closest thing to a father figure Tommy probably even had growing up was Kanan. Either though we do know that Ghost's father at least knew who Tommy was, because Ghost had asked Gabe if he remembered Tommy being the only white kid in the neighborhood, and Gabe said he did. So because of that, I wonder what type of relationship Tommy had with Ghost's father before he passed, and if it's anything close to the relationship that Ghost had with Kate. Because Kate and Ghost's father each could have filled the void for the missing parent in Ghost and Tommy's lives, respectfully. But when Ghost went to prison, he was locked up with an OG Italian mafia hitter named Tony Teresi, who was Tommy's father, and Tommy ultimately discovered that Teresi was his father and was pissed off at Kate for lying to him. Teresi had been locked up for 25 years, so that would have meant he got locked up around 93 when Tommy was only around 13 years old. In addition to being told that his father was dead, Tommy had also been told most of his life that his grandmother was dead also, only having vague memories from when he was really young about going to her house and visiting. But on his way to California from New York after driving for several hours, Tommy made a pit stop in Chicago. When he went to that old house he remembered going to when he was a kid, Tommy had a picture from when he was maybe 4 to 5 years old, sitting in front of her house. It also had a note on the back saying, "I love you," written in Irish. But when Tommy pulled up at Miriam's house with flowers, asking where they buried her, intending on putting flowers at her gravesite, the kid told Tommy that she wasn't dead, but that she was now living in a nursing home. So Tommy showed up to the nursing home to see his grandmother, but at this point Miriam only stared out the window and didn't speak. When Tommy told her who he was, she said, "Tommy," and was happy for a split second before she went back to looking sad and was quiet again. So Tommy now realized that Kate had lied to him about his father being dead and also his grandmother. Then when Tommy was walking out of the nursing home, he was confronted by JP about why he was visiting Miriam Egan. And Tommy found out that Kate had also never told him that he had a brother. JP also had "I love you" written in Irish tatted on his forearm. But to make things worse, Kate abandoned JP when he was just a baby, leaving his father Herman to raise him on his own. And the parallel between Tommy and JP is similar to how Kate told Tommy that Teresi was dead. Herman also told JP that Kate was dead. But something we also have to keep in mind is that Herman wasn't happy at all about Tommy showing up and becoming a part of JP's life. So with JP's death likely coming in Season 3, we also gotta wonder if we're gonna see Herman return in Season 3, if he'll be at JP's funeral, what his relationship with D-Mac will be like, if Herman will blame JP's death on Tommy being in his life, and also, will we ever see Herman and Kate cross paths? But because Kate has already lied to Tommy about these things, it leaves the question, what other secrets or lies does Kate have? And will there be any more revealed in the final season of Force? There's also questions like, who was Kate's father? And was he in the picture when she was growing up? And does Kate have any brothers or sisters? If Kate's father wasn't in the picture, this could also mean that Kate might have half-siblings on her father's side that she doesn't know about. Keep it in mind that Miriam Egan is Irish, and the Flynn family is also Irish. And I've always felt like there was some kind of connection between either Miriam and the Flynn family or Kate and the Flynn family. Either though Walton knew Tommy's last name and never said that they were related, but he did say at one point something about Tommy being his people and saying he could see it in Tommy's eyes. but Tommy told Walter he was a mutt, meaning he was half Irish and half Italian. So if Tommy is related to the Flynns, the most likely scenario would be that Kate and Walter had the same father, and that Kate's father wasn't in the picture. And depending on who was older, Kate or Walter, he either had an affair with Miriam and got her pregnant, or he got Miriam pregnant first and she left him and moved to the States. If Tommy is somehow related to the Flynns, this could also explain a couple things. Why Tommy and Claudia never had a love scene, either though she did technically kiss Dahlia onto Tommy, but that was more about introducing him to Dahlia than it was about anything romantic. And it could also explain why Tommy keeps showing Vic Flynn so much love when he probably should have capped him a couple times already, and definitely when he found out he was a snitch. When Tommy found out Vic was the snitch, he was definitely bothered about it. Not saying that Tommy knows him and Vic are related, but maybe he shows Vic love because subconsciously he might feel like they're related. But just like how Kate had these secrets from Tommy, it also makes me wonder what kind of secrets Miriam had with Kate, and if lies and secrets is part of the Egan family history. Keeping in mind, we already know that according to Kate, the reason why she abandoned JP was because things her mother was telling her. But honestly, I question if that was a lie or not also, because the fact Miriam was obviously a part of JP's life when he was growing up, and he even had that tattoo on his arm. But if Miriam was saying what Kate said she said, that's similar to the pressure that Walter was putting on Vic to end his relationship with Gloria. There's also the fact that as soon as Kate heard that Miriam had died, she returned to Chicago and went to Miriam's old house and was trying to bust down the walls looking for money. She told Tommy that Miriam had money hidden in her walls and it had something to do with her troubles. So that left the question, what kind of troubles did Miriam have and who was she in trouble from? And how is it that she supposedly had all this cash hidden in her walls? Where did she get that money from? Then there was another question concerning Miriam that has still never been revealed, and that is who paid for Miriam's nursing home. In season 1, Tommy asked JP who was paying for Miriam's nursing home, knowing that JP couldn't afford it because of his financial hardships. And JP told Tommy that he assumed it was some kind of trust because him and Herman weren't a part of Miriam's life for a long time. And when they came back into the picture, she was already in the home. So this sounds like Miriam potentially had a mystery benefactor who paid for her to live in that nursing home. We also know that Miriam had been in that home for at least 6 years because in episode 1, JP told Tommy that he was the only person who had visited Miriam Egan for the last 6 years. This was likely when he came back into the picture. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions concerning Miriam and Tommy's family that need to be answered in season 3 of Force, because the fact we already know that this is Tommy's final chapter in Chicago. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.